We usually start out with a brainstorming session to come up with every conceivable sound we can think of, and with a couple of guys doing that all at once, you kind of branch out and someone says something and then somebody says, hey, what about this? And that creates a whole nother line of thought, and one idea will then lead to another idea and then to another idea, and those will branch out and keep going, and we end up at the end of the day, we might have 50,000 sounds that we can go through and try to figure out which ones are the ones that are going to make it into the library.
My plan was to just accumulate as we go, collect sounds constantly, and some of the best sounds that I could capture were, it just so happened it was the right moment. For example, to give you an example, for SoundFX 3, when we talked about the weather effects, when we were doing the planning, all I said is Florida hurricane season.
Working with Maverick on the SoundFX library has been great because he has a real passion to go out into the field and do things that some other people might not do, like sitting and waiting on the perfect lightning strike.
I had all of the recording equipment with me at the house one day, and it just so happened it was the perfect timing. There was a huge thunderstorm coming through, and I could hear it for the longest time ever. I could hear all these lightning strikes from a distance. So I just grabbed my pole and my equipment and just jumped on the roof of the building and waited out there and until I got close to about 100 strikes. And out of those, some of them are just so close and so intense that it makes the hair on your back go up. But the fact is that I needed to get those sounds, bottom line. And sometimes you just gotta go, a little crazy.
My name is Michael Ocampo, and I'm the lead mixer at Digital Juice. I've been actually mixing records as a DJ for over 15 years, and, ideas were being tossed around, and I thought that scratches would be a really cool sound effect to add, a category to add into the elements for editors to use in their productions. I live, eat, and breathe, and mix, and listen audio day in, day out.
Hi, my name is Scott Davis, and I'm an audio engineer for Digital Juice. With SoundFX 3, I primarily did the coordination of sound effects to the animations such as jump backs and motion design elements. Working on each animation had its own unique details that I had to really pay close attention to. Each one has its own feel, its own personality, it has its own it becomes alive when you apply your sound effects to it.
Hi, I'm Mike Purcell, Director of Worship Music, and I contributed vocal riffs to SoundFX 3. For vocal riffs, what we were thinking, what the mindset behind vocal riffs really was to give our end user the ability to be able to pick and choose different types of ad-libs that you would normally have to maybe hire a singer for, but you need some nice vocal stab, vocal hit. Do 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 do. Yeah. Ooh. So we tried to come up with a nice list of what a vocalist could do. And of course we went to the booth, and when you get in there, it's an inspired kind of thing because you're hearing something in your head and you want to lay it down. So you ask the engineer if you can do that. Of course, they let you go and you do your thing. So we were kind of surprised at some of the things that came out, but I like it. I enjoyed it, as a matter of fact.
My name is Sam Allison. I'm a mixing engineer for Digital Juice, and for SoundFX 3, I recorded the musical elements. For SoundFX 3, we got together and we just found some instruments that would complement our existing libraries, and just instruments that we could really go for the acoustic sound and the actual sound of the instrument and just focus on different playing styles. And we had the Spanish guitar player playing some flamenco jazz style, and we had a fiddler that came and did some mountain style, and we had the violin do some classical, and mountain dulcimer do some bluegrass, and just capturing all different styles of music with the instruments we had. Well, working at Juice, and especially in the audio department, it's awesome because everyone there is just so talented and everyone just brings their own spice to the mix.
I think there was a perception that I was a little bit crazy on SoundFX 1 for requiring things at 24-bit 96 kilohertz because that rate was so far above what everyone else was doing. Generally, you would see sound effects on CD, at 16-bit 44.1 kilohertz. And this was so far above that in quality. Plus it took up a lot of extra disk space, a lot of extra hard drive space. But now as we make the move into HD high definition, the things that are available through the entire SoundFX line are still viable for use in that high definition platform.
Everything about SoundFX 3 is different. The structure kind of followed SoundFX 1 and SoundFX 2, but everything is so different. From the sounds that we have acquired to the new electronic noise effects that we've, introduced. It's just different. Like, it complements SoundFX 1 and 2, but it can stand alone by itself, and it's really strong as it is. Part of me being a sound designer is just letting my creativity go. And step outside the norms and just think. You can't have guidelines about things that you do. You need to step outside and just let your creativity go wild. Whether it's recording these effects or whether it's actually manipulating and creating new sounds. The fact that I can paint a picture to somebody without even using any images, to me, it's a big deal. The fact that I can affect them emotionally, it's a big deal. And I think that's what really, gets me into sound design. That's what really gets my wheels spinning.
There are billions of sounds out there in the universe, so we won't stop until we capture them all.
Ready? And whoosh. One more time for me and don't talk, okay?